Remember this video we made a few months ago? Yeah, in it we talked about a former first-round pick of the Philadelphia Flyers who ended up being a bust. And now we're bringing everything back up again because this entire story has resulted in the Flyers getting themselves a free second-round pick in the 2024 draft. Now here is the scoop. It comes to us via Cap Friendly. This tweet was initially posted August 11th, and by the way, yeah, I'm gonna keep on saying tweet. It's not X, everybody. Don't call this an X post, call this a tweet. It's a lot easier just to say that, but Cap Friendly on August 11th, so last week, they tweeted this out. One of the last critical off-season dates before training camp opens is August 15th, aka yesterday. The must-sign-by date for college-drafted players. Here's the list of players that we have identified that each club must sign by next Tuesday. Otherwise, they will lose their signing rights. On the list, you have prospects who were taken by NHL teams from 2017 up until 2019. Some of these were third-round guys, some seventh-round picks in there, some seconds in there too. But all these guys, if they don't sign by Tuesday, which was 2 days ago, they would become free agents, and the teams that drafted them would no longer hold on to their rights. The only guy who is on here that's actually a first-round pick, though, is Jay O'Brien, Philadelphia Flyers prospect taken in the first round of the 2018 draft, 19th overall. Now, we made the video about Jay O'Brien a few months ago, and there were some pretty good comments in there that I wanted to just kind of revisit too. But because Jay O'Brien was not signed by the Philadelphia Flyers 2 days ago, everything is now official. As of yesterday, Jay O'Brien is now a free agent, and the Philadelphia Flyers are getting themselves a compensatory second-round pick in the 2024 draft. Now, the reason this works out, and the reason the Flyers are getting this extra pick is because Jay O'Brien was a first-round guy. Simple as that. All these other players whose rights in the NHL were expiring upon their NCAA seasons concluding, all these other guys were seconds or thirds or seventh round picks. None of these guys were first round talents. Jay O'Brien is the only one here, and the rule says that if your first round guy does not sign with you, you're gonna get that extra pick as a compensation. So the Flyers are getting an extra pick in 2024. How this affects the draft order, I'm honestly not too sure. I'm not sure if every pick in the NHL draft gets slid down one, or if they just straight up say, okay, well, Philadelphia, here you are, the 60-somethingth overall pick, we're just gonna give it to you, and all the other teams are gonna get a pick replaced, because look, you're going to have 7 rounds worth of 32 picks. If you're just going to remove one of the picks and give it to Philadelphia, then that doesn't really sound right now, doesn't it? There probably, if I had to guess, there's just going to be an extra pick given out to Philly, and the draft in its entirety extends itself by 1 pick. But either way, Philadelphia is getting a 2024 second in exchange for drafting a 2018 first-round bust. Let's go over the profile here of Jay O'Brien once again, because there are some updates that I think need to be served in this story. Jay O'Brien is 23 years old, he's 5'11", 185, right-handed center, taken in the 19th overall spot by Philadelphia. This was a big deal because back in 2018, Jay O'Brien was supposed to go in the 40 to 48 type of range. You had Bob McKenzie have him at 34, McKean's 48, future considerations at number 40. NHL Central Scouting had him at number 32 on their list of North American skaters, so if you map it out with the European guys included, that's probably in the 50 to 60 range. But nevertheless, Jay O'Brien, who at the time was playing out of the USHS Prep School League in the USA, had 80 points in 30 games played. Now that's a good amount of numbers, it's just he was drafted out of the high school leagues in America. Not really the most high-profile league, and not really the most high-profile player, despite the fact that he had all these points. Now this was a comment brought up in the previous video, but because the Philadelphia Flyers had already drafted Joel Farabee earlier in this draft, literally like 5 picks earlier if I'm not mistaken, yeah, 14th overall, it was Joel Farabee there. This is why a lot of Flyers fans are saying that Ron Hextall was more adamant on taking a swing, and more comfortable with that too, because hey, they already got their main guy. Farabee is actually a really good player, so why not go for a bigger swing with their next pick 5 picks later? Never mind that you could have gotten a guy like Keandre Miller, or Rasmus Kupari, or Joe Veleno, or somebody else afterwards, but just go out there and take your swing. Jay O'Brien then went to Providence College. He had 5 points in 25 games played, and he was at 0 points in 7 games for Team USA at the World Juniors. He then decommitted from Providence, and this was actually brought to my attention in the comment section of the previous video too. But when you submit a transfer order and you decommit from your NCAA team, you gotta take a year off. You can't play right away. There's sort of a rule that doesn't allow players to play immediately after, which is why Jay O'Brien went to the BCHL, Junior A Hockey in British Columbia, of course. And this is sort of where things started to go a little bit sour, because as I noted back in this time frame, the guy had 66 points in 46 games, which is a good number. It's just not a good number for a 20-year-old first-round caliber draft pick. BCHL hockey is not the best hockey in the world, but it's pretty good. But for guys that are supposed to become NHL caliber prospects and players, you're normally going to see players put up, let's say, 100+ points at 17 or 18 years old, like Alex Newhook or Tyson Jost or Kent Johnson did. Jay O'Brien was much older and producing at a significantly lower rate. So at this point in time, 2020, a lot of Flyers fans are sort of saying, okay, where exactly is his development going? He had to decommit, okay, cool. He's going back to college next year, and to his credit, he has been pretty good. Point per game guy consistently with the Boston University Terriers, but at the same time, this guy was only at 32 points in 39 games played as a 23-year-old first-round prospect. This number, these stats, would be pretty okay and passable if he was 19 or 20 years old, let alone 23. All the other first-round guys, let's say the Caulfields and the Turcottes and whatnot from 2019, these guys were at a point per game plus in their draft +1 seasons. Jay O'Brien was a point per game with Boston in 21 and 22, but 23 he ends up taking a pretty big hit in production. Now, of course, this is not the be-all and end-all. He's still a pretty good NCAA player, and he is free to sign a contract with whichever NHL team is willing to give it to him. But for the Philadelphia Flyers, this pick ended up not really becoming much, and it just slowly evolved into a story of more disappointment as his time went on. Even in his first season in the NCAA, Providence College, 5 points, 25 games played. That wasn't really a good indicator as to where Jay O'Brien would be going with his hockey playing career if you're projecting him to being a top-of-the-line Philadelphia Flyers top 6 center, for example. This was a guy that was supposed to be taken a lot later. The Flyers made a swing, and now they're getting a second-round pick 6 years after the fact because of it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this entire situation here. Jay O'Brien is gone from the organization. He was a former first-round pick. Does he still have the capabilities of becoming an NHL player? I don't want to go out there and say no. Like, obviously, if a hockey player is still doing well in the NCAA, they can play in the NHL, or they might be a good AHL player, for example. But for Jay O'Brien, that future is not with the Philadelphia Flyers. As for what's happening afterwards, I mean, I've been seeing a lot of people in the Boston side of things saying, hey, the Bruins should sign this guy. They need centers, and this guy is from Massachusetts. He played in BU, so there's a nice connection there. Who really knows where this entire thing is going to go? They already signed John Farinacci yesterday, too. Arizona Coyotes prospect that did not sign with the Coyotes. He became a free agent and signed immediately with the Bees. So we'll see if Jay O'Brien follows a similar path. But for now, if you're a Philadelphia Flyers fan, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this entire storyline here? The fact that you already got Farabee, and he's pretty good, but immediately after you swung for the fences and ended up with a dud. You drafted this guy too high, you missed out on some pretty good talents afterwards. What are your thoughts about how his career went? And if you have any other wishes or whatever, please feel free to let me know in the comments all your thoughts about this situation here. Of course, it's not Jay O'Brien's fault that the guy was drafted as high as he was. It's good to see a first-round pick story come out where nobody was really expecting it. Although it can't be ignored that there are certain expectations and weight that's put upon the shoulders of these first-round prospects, and Jay O'Brien just unfortunately did not live up to that for the Philadelphia Flyers. So thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.